Does this sound like you? You are trying to lose weight, you're trying to maybe get healthier, and you made the decision. You got all of the different guidance and all of the expertise you need. You have a plan, a diet, you have the exercise, you maybe even are on certain medications and supplements to help you get there. But you find yourself drowning in your work, in your responsibilities. Maybe you're a mom. You have all these other things that have been sort of interfering with your ability to stay on track and on schedule. So you're either not eating enough or you're eating all the wrong things. You're not doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing to get you to the health goal that you're trying to achieve. So you beat yourself up. You tell yourself, maybe I'm not motivated enough. Maybe I just need to wait until this job project is over. Maybe I just, need to be a little bit more determined, and not as lazy. Maybe I need to get up an hour earlier than I already am. And you make up all of these reasons that basically have to do with your willpower. And you just basically feel like you're not trying hard enough and that you need to try harder. If this sounds like you, I want you to stop and I want you to watch this video. Because what I'm about to share with you will show you that that is actually not the reason why you're not doing what you know is going to be good for you. That the reasons are so much deeper. They are in your body and your physiology, they're in your emotional body, and they're in your spirit. So today, I want to have a soul nurturing conversation with you. I want you to see why you're actually not doing the things that you need to be doing to get you healthier and what you can do about it today. I'm Dr. Hulda Gay, and I'm here to help medicine remember its soul and to help you remember who you truly are. Welcome to the Inner Temple. Welcome to the Inner Temple. This is your sacred space to come home to yourself. Here we explore the truth of your temple, your body, your mind, your emotions, your soul. My intention is simple: to help you remember who you are in all your glory and to teach you what you were never taught about your health, your hormones, your cycles, your symptoms, and the sacred wisdom underneath it all. So grab your tea, wrap yourself in your softest blanket, and get cozy with me. You and I are about to have a soul-nurturing, heart-awakening conversation about your temple. Welcome back, my loves. Today's conversation was inspired by patience. And I do this often where when I have the same conversation in a very short period of time, I know that that is my spirit telling me, hey, there's something here for your community, there's something here for your tribe. And so I had a very powerful conversation with an amazing patient that is driven, highly accomplished. She gets things done. Um, she's a lawyer. I have many lawyer patients. And of course, I can't tell you her name, but if you're watching this, I know you're going to recognize yourself in this description. But she is on a health journey. She's doing all the right things. She figured out the root cause of why her body is basically betraying her and breaking down, and how that has impacted her personal life. And she's doing great at it. But at this last conversation we had, she had kind of fallen off the wagon, and she blamed it on just how heavy her workload has been. She hasn't been eating enough, and when she does eat, it's all the foods that she knows doesn't make her feel good and really betrays this journey that she's on, and so she's not feeling great. And she, just like many of you, told herself that she just has to make a decision, right? She just has to try harder. And I want to talk to you today about how that is a trap. that this is a very common conversation, internal conversation that happens within us that set us up for failure, because you are going to try harder. You're going to get fed up. You're going to basically wage war on yourself and have, that really hard conversation with yourself where you're essentially gaslighting yourself, and you're going to drive yourself into the wall only for it to fail because it's not sustainable. And then you will blame yourself for failing yet another health journey. So let's talk real, right? Let's get into the heart of what is happening. Now, I'm a physician. I'm a board certified physician in obstetrics and gynecology in the United States. I'm also trained in functional medicine and herbal therapies. And I am an intuitive healer and empath who has been feeling and seeing the unseen since I was very little, and how that interacts with us. And so I want to have a conversation with you that goes into all of this. I want to bring all of it together for you so that this will be the last video you're going to need before you fully dive into your transformation and the health journey that you are on, and make it successful and sustainable once and for all. So let's talk about this reality where a lot of women will find themselves needing to eat a certain way. And these are going to be a lot of my women that are in their mid to late 30s and older, maybe in perimenopause or menopause, finding that they're gaining weight no matter what they do. They're not feeling good. They have all kinds of symptoms related to menopause. And you're finding it difficult to stay on your nutrition guidelines, right? So you're having cravings for whether it's sweets or salty foods that you know aren't good for you, craving all the processed stuff. You're having late night snacks. Maybe you're not even exercising as much as you should because you're busy, right? Things are coming up and you have all kinds of reasons why you're not doing what you're supposed to do. But let's look at what's happening in your body when your mind knows that you should be consuming less carbs, higher fiber, more of the good healthy vegetables and legumes, etc., but you're not. When you reach for that processed food, that snack that you know is not good for you, there's something that's happening chemically inside of you that I want us to first recognize. The reality is that every single time you consume food that has a high sugar, low fiber content, what's happening in your body is that you're going through a sugar spike and a sugar crash. And it is in the sugar crash that your cravings will occur. And you can probably test this. If you have a high sugar breakfast first thing in the morning, you're ready for lunch by, within 2 hours of that meal. You're already hungry, you're starving by lunchtime. When you have a high protein meal with higher fiber, it holds you longer. And this is nature's way. A lot of the fruits that we have available to us are coated with a fiber-rich skin, because nature understands that when you combine fiber with some of its higher carb content, it helps your body better process that sugar metabolism. And so, for example, our rice was not meant to be this naked white grain that you consume. Rice in its natural state has a fiber coating, and that's the way nature intended us to consume it. And so, unfortunately, in our modern day diet, we are consuming way more sugar than we are on a daily basis. And every time you consume that, and it's hidden in everything, it's in our entire American food source. Every time you have that high sugar, low fiber food, you're going to have a sugar crash, which is going to create cravings in your body. So unfortunately, it's this vicious cycle where you make that one decision, I'm just going to go ahead and have that piece of cake because, I haven't eaten all day and it's in the break room. You've now set yourself up for cravings later on that day. So that's one thing to recognize, that part of this is not really your fault. It truly is tricking with your brain chemistry, and it's making you crave that. I want to also talk to my salty females out there who will crave salty foods. If you look at often the foods that we will reach for when we want something salty, it'll be like potato chips, uh, all of foods, processed foods generally that have more of a salty flavor. But if you look at the carb content, it's also very high in carbs. So you're going through the same crashes and cravings as somebody that just had a sweet food to satisfy their craving. So, from a brain chemistry perspective and physiological perspective, you're setting yourself up to have those moments where it's really hard to overcome what your body's asking for. The other consideration, and that's important to think about, is that our hormonal balance has a lot to do with our ability to, of course, lose weight, especially once we start to go through perimenopause and menopause. And if you are out of balance, is also going to play into the various cravings that you're having throughout the day. And the fact that you are wanting to go eat that meal that is not on your nutrition guide. And so, if that's something you haven't addressed as well, then also consider that. Seek care from someone who understands hormones. Unfortunately, it's not every single OBGYN or every single endocrinologist. It is specialized training. And so make sure that you seek care from a provider, a physician that understands hormones and can help you get back into balance. For all of you ladies that are in Maryland, definitely reach out to Visionary Women's Health and we can help you. And hopefully we'll have more centers across the country and across the world over the next upcoming years. But there are many options already across the country. So seek out that help because your hormones could also be contributing to this pattern that you're noticing. Make sure that when you are having your meals that you're sticking to low carbs, higher fiber, avoiding the processed foods, and hydrate. Drink lots of water and add electrolytes whenever you can, and you can do that easily with lemon juice or pink Himalayan salt. You can also just get some liquid electrolytes. You want to set your body up in such a way that from a physiological standpoint, you're not basically creating these cycles where you find yourself just not able to stick to the plan, and then you blame your willpower when it could just be your body that's fighting against you. Now, just a quick note with exercise. We know that when you exercise right after a meal, you are managing your blood sugars a lot better. So you're basically preventing that really high sugar spike that occurs with certain meals. So if you are in a position to take a brisk walk after lunch or after your dinner, or maybe do like a quick jump rope exercise, that's my favorite. That's what I do. That's a great way to help manage these sugar spikes that can occur with some of our meals. And often this is it's available to do at many workplaces as well. So try to see and be creative and see how you can incorporate just a quick 10 to 15 minute walk or exercise to help manage these sugar spikes and crashes that can occur with the meals that we have, especially in the United States. The other question that I want you to explore is, are you on any medication or any treatments that could also be driving some of your cravings and some of this, uncontrollable weight gain that you're experiencing? And then also have that conversation with your doctor, because again, you want to make sure that you're setting your body up to help this journey and not fight against you. So now this brings me to the second point, which is a conversation about your heart and your spirit. This is always a favorite part because I think this is where we get the biggest breakthroughs. It's the part of ourselves that we have not been taught to look at, to address. And when we address both, when we address our bodies and our emotions and our spirit, you will always get the miraculous results that you're looking for. So let's dive into that, my love. When we have a desire, and in this conversation, our desire is for health, and our actions are not matching this desire. They were for a while. You went out, you sought out help, you got the plans, you started out really well, but then you fell off. When the actions are no longer matching a desire that is still very, very strong, then I always find that there is a spiritual and emotional underpinning that has to be addressed. So let's talk about what that underpinning is in this situation. And I want you to take notes. I'm going to give you some resources so that you can change your life. There are two aspects that I find are always going to be present in a situation like this. The first is you are functioning under a societal programming that says that your worth is attached to your career, your productivity, how well you show up for your kids, for your husband, for your friends, whoever it is that you are prioritizing over you. Society has programmed you to believe that your worth is attached to that. And so what does that create? It just means that now you will always prioritize all of the things you have to do for someone else and something else before you prioritize yourself. I have patients who have spent entire lives taking care of other people and other things and neglecting themselves and their health. And then often it's that first meeting with me when they're going through menopause and their body will no longer allow them to do that, where we have this conversation for the first time. So if you're someone who's never thought of this and considered the ways in which you are prioritizing everything and everyone else above you and the why, then now is the time to just take a minute, slow down, and think about it and ask yourself why. You will always find that your sense of self-worth is attached to your ability to take care of everyone else and everything else, including sometimes your career and your success. And so at the heart of this conversation is really a conversation around self-love. It's a conversation around whether you will allow yourself to love yourself, even without the titles, without the success, without being the kind of parent or friend or whatever it is that you have convinced yourself is attached to your worth. Because the truth is that regardless of what happens and how you perform in any of those areas, you are still worthy just because you are. You are a divine child that is here against all odds. And you're worthy because you are. Because you are. Your simple presence, your being, is where your worthiness lies. And so conceptually, a lot of this can make sense to many of you. But when you are running under a program for so long, it can be hard to implement. And so I created a 5 days to self-love journey. You can join it for free. Just follow the link to my Circle of One and take the journey to start to really explore what truly loving yourself without any conditions, without any, I will only love myself when. I will only allow myself to be great or to think I'm great when. All of that must fall and drop, because it's in your unconditional self-love that you are going to prioritize yourself. Because all these people that depend on you, all these people and things and jobs and careers that you are putting above yourself and your health and your well being need you to be healthy. And when you're not going to be able to show up for them, but you're not doing it so that you can show up for them. You are doing it because you're worthy of it. Because you are a magnificent divine being. And you need to be at the top of the list of those people that you nurture and take care of. And so that paradigm shift, I find, is the first one that needs to occur. Stepping back away from the societal programmings and into a truly So I find that this is going to be the first step, the first shift that needs to occur is letting go and shedding all of the societal programming around your worthiness and when you become worthy, and truly stepping into your unconditional, authentic self-love. So go ahead and check it out. You can join my Circle of One and start the journey. It takes 5 days. Of course, it's the beginning of the journey, but it's going to open up some really powerful gateways within you. And that's where it begins. Now, there is a second part to this. And this second part is part of sort of my signature work. It's part of something that I would say I stumbled upon and have found to be one of the most powerful medicines that I have found out. And that is your identity. Who do you think you are? You see, most of us who are struggling in a health journey have a belief that who we are is this unhealthy person, right? It makes sense. You're unhealthy, trying to get healthy. And herein lies the problem. As long as you see yourself as fat, unhealthy, broken, your body's betraying you, whatever diagnosis, fill in the blank. As long as this is who you are, you will always struggle with aligning or sustaining the behaviors necessary to become the person you are trying to be. I'm going to say that again. Now, it's not difficult to understand, but if this is the first time you're hearing this, it can take a minute. Who you believe yourself to be right now is basically betraying the actions that you need to take as the person you are trying to become, because you're not her yet. And so the key is to remember that that identity isn't the truth. I used to have an identity of always being the chubby twin. I have a twin sister. Growing up, she was thin. I wasn't obese or, fat necessarily, but I was bigger than she was, and I was overweight, and people would comment on that because that's what they do with twins, right? You're always comparing them. And so I carried this identity that I'm always just somewhat overweight. And I didn't understand why all the medical knowledge in the world, all the training that I was acquiring, all the protocols that I was following would never allow me to break through a certain number with my weight until I began to identify this identity and apply what I call identity medicine on myself. And even my own twin sister today will say, "Oh my gosh, you never used to be this way. You're like so fit and healthy, and you're the thinner one now." You must shed this belief that you are the sick person, that you are this broken person, that you are this fat person. You must let it go and begin to align with the identity of who you are trying to become. See, I don't believe in becoming. I only believe in being, because the journey of becoming never ends. The journey of being is when you arrive. And so who have you been trying to become? Write it down. Write it down. And you can start with the simple practice of using the person you are trying to become as your new mantra. I am actually a very healthy woman. You can say thin if that's what you wanted. I have a healthy weight. I'm fit. And I just temporarily went through some weight gain due to just a work schedule that was a little out of hand, but that's not who I am. I'm actually a very fit and healthy woman, and that's who I truly am. That's what I started to say to myself. And without changing anything else in the protocols I was already following, I began to see the weight come off. There are certain things that you just can't deny. And when you experience it for yourself, then there's no one that could say anything to the contrary. Your identity, who you believe you are, is affecting the thoughts that you generate about yourself, the emotions that come from those thoughts. And we know emotions are biochemical markers that will interfere with the physiological process of your body, that will act as an epigenetic signal, turn on or off the DNA molecules in your body. This is not a joke. And your thoughts and your emotions will dictate your behavior. This is why you haven't been able to stick to the behaviors, my love. And so if you can begin a journey of self-love, of loving yourself unconditionally, regardless of what you achieve during the day, that will automatically bump you up to your priority list, top of your priority list. And then if you can stop this journey of becoming this new person and deciding who you are, what is your identity? What is the personality that you truly want to embody? Who are you? And does it match what you want? When you do these two things, my love, you're unstoppable. You will never, ever, ever need the motivation, the self-help books, or anything out there to get to this health outcome that you're seeking. You're going to follow this health journey, and it won't feel like work. I have in the Circle of One some resets that you can listen to, and these are sound frequency meditations. Like I said, I have the 5-day self-love journey. So join me in the Circle of One so you can access these tools, take the journey for yourself, and really start to address all parts of you in this healing that you have chosen. I hope that this video was nurturing to you, nurturing to your soul. And I hope that it has allowed me to achieve my intention, which is to help medicine remember its soul and to help you remember who you are. I'm going to see you next time here at the Inner Temple.